We are on the scene with our Warriors reporter, Anthony Slater. Anthony, what have you noticed around the Warriors facility as Steph continues this rehab?
Yeah, Jay, I saw him 2 floors below me the other night doing basically one-legged squats on that right knee in the weight room. But the problem is every time he's gotten back on the court, the pain shows back up, the swelling shows back up. He's called the injury unpredictable. I think they're just hoping, he'll get on the court soon and some of that issue will subside.
The last stretch of games by the Golden State Warriors has a lot of fans wondering, have the Warriors simply been embracing the idea of tanking for the rest of the season? With no timetable for a Steph Curry return in sight, Draymond still in the starting lineup with Kerr opting for a trial and error when he already has a formula, the Warriors have seemingly thrown in the towel. But this isn't just myself making a judgment call.
Standings-wise, they don't feel very urgent right now because they can't really climb up. They're about 5 games behind the Lakers. They're not going to get into the top 6, but they also can't go too far down. Memphis is down there at the 11th spot right now. They're not even trying to win. They're 7.5 back, so they're going to be a play-in team. They're just trying to get Steph Curry back and healthy for the play-in week.
The Warriors are almost a lock to be in the play-in no matter what, so most of the remaining 21 games are likely to be used for the purpose of experimenting, as was the game against the Clippers. As Steve Kerr stated in prior interviews, he's trying to mix and match lineups to find what works, with the one caveat being, it has to work with Draymond Green.
I think that no matter how we play it without Steph, there'll be an impact. We know that we want to get to certain combinations. We want to avoid certain combinations, so we factor all that stuff in. But I want to keep starting the same way to try to develop some continuity with Kristaps' minutes being limited. We'll continue to start the same way and try to weather the storm while Steph is out.
So instead of replacing Draymond Green with Al Horford, Steve doubled down, removing Guy Santos as I predicted, played Draymond at the 4 and Horford at the 5. That didn't go as well as Kerr hoped. Could the issue have been with the bench? With Will Richard and GP2 both out due to ankle sprains, Kerr went to his new two-way guys, Malavi Leons and Nate Williams, 2 players I've yet to discuss on the channel. While Malavi Leons has been on the team for a bit longer, I'm not quite sure that he may stick around just yet. Nate Williams, on the other hand, seems to be a rather intriguing player. Who is Nate Williams, and how can he benefit the Warriors going forward? Check ball. For the first part of the game, Steve's new lineup actually seemed to work. Seemed is the key word here. The Warriors had a high-intensity first half with a defensive-first approach. The idea was to shut down Kawhi and make the rest of the guys make shots. Without James Harden, the Clippers didn't have a definitive second option in the starting lineup. But taking a look at the bench with Benedict Mathurin and Darius Garland, this team might have some scoring punch on the second unit. At multiple times throughout the first half, the Warriors would send a double to Kawhi. They held Kawhi Leonard to 8 first-half points on 3 made field goals. What also gave the Warriors a boost was the first-half shooting of Podziemski, who went 3 of 4 from distance and 8 of 12 from the field for a total of 20 points. With a 17-point lead, they went into the second half confident. But something was different. The Clippers made their adjustments and came out in the second half with intent. They basically shut down the Warriors' offense. After scoring 56 points in the first half, the Warriors barely managed to score 45 in the second half. Not only did the Clippers shut down the Warriors' offense, they got back in transition and got anything they wanted at the other end. Pods only made 1 2-point basket in the entire second half to bring his final score up to 22 points for the game. Guy Santos, who had been starting for the Warriors and found a rhythm in their winning lineups after starting the last 10 games, seemed to be impacted by the sudden role shift playing off the bench. He struggled to find much offense, going 2 of 8 from the field with 5 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. The effort was there. The focus, however, seemed to have been compromised. The least surprising bit was Draymond, who was 1 of 5 from the field, and for the second game in a row, had the lowest plus-minus of the entire team. The definition of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. 100th time is the charm? The Warriors lost 114-101, but it wasn't all doom and gloom. Nate Williams, the Warriors' latest two-way acquisition that they picked up a couple of weeks back on the 16th of February, had a standout performance that gave him the honors for the second highest scorer of the night behind Pods, with 18 on 5 of 8 from the field with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal in 21 minutes. He went 3 of 4 from distance and made 5 of his 6 free throws. The performance is encouraging, but is this just luck or is there more to Nate Williams? Nate Williams is a 27-year-old 6'5" guard that the Warriors signed after having been waived at the beginning of the season by the Lakers. But this was far from his first stint in the spotlight. Despite multiple offers from top colleges in the Northeast such as Syracuse and St. Bonaventure, both in New York, Williams opted instead to play for Buffalo, also in New York. The smaller program gave him a better opportunity, although that wouldn't come until his sophomore year, where he became a full-time starter. After 4 years at Buffalo, Williams entered the 2022 NBA draft where he went undrafted. Teams notably selected Paolo Banchero with the first pick and Chet Holmgren with the second. He then signed with the Jazz to play in the G League before being picked up near the end of the season by the Trailblazers due to multiple injuries. Once the season concluded, they released him before he was picked up by the Rockets and signed for 2 consecutive seasons on two-way contracts each time. After being waived by the Rockets last summer, he signed an Exhibit 10, a training camp contract with the Lakers before being waived again prior to the start of the season. That was it for Williams until he signed with the Warriors.
You've only had him for 1 game, but what did you notice from Nate Williams?
Big time competitor. His pressure that he puts on the rim is pretty valuable. His intensity on the defensive end, at the point of attack, trying to make the right plays. I mean, the guy's kind of a definition of a all-out dog. So he's been. It was very, very enjoyable to watch that first game in this.
While his offense in the last game was intriguing considering his efficiency and effort, there might be more potential for him to be effective elsewhere for the Warriors. Despite only being 6'5" like Moses Moody, Nate comes with a 7-foot wingspan, also like Moody, that allows him to be a very effective defender who can guard taller players. There isn't a whole lot available in terms of how well he can play in extended minutes, but for a player coming off the bench in spot minutes, he provides a good scoring punch and should be able to guard 1 through 3. His shooting tends to be inconsistent, where he can give you a stretch of great shooting games, but sometimes the shot just doesn't fall, kind of what you'd expect for a role player. As far as why the Warriors signed him, the team has suffered a number of injuries, and having traded Jonathan Kuminga along with Buddy Hield, sought to bolster up their wing depth with a low-usage player. With Pat Spencer having to fill in for Curry's absences, the team was forced to sign him to a standard contract, which vacated the third available two-way slot. With Butler out for the season, Curry for at least another 10 days, and Porzingis out until further notice, the Warriors are missing a lot of depth, so expect to see a lot of Nate Williams in the coming weeks as the Warriors try to avoid falling too far down the rankings. The goal is to keep the team around 500 to secure a spot in the play-in, after which hopefully Steph Curry is able to return. After the Clippers game, Steve Kerr is likely going back to the drawing board to try to figure out a lineup that can help them win just enough to get the job done. Most of you already know the answer, however, and that is unless he removes Draymond from the starting lineup, there's not much that can be done. Speaking of Steph Curry, however, what went from a slight inconvenience with the potential to miss 5 games has now ballooned into a very concerning issue as Steph misses his 23rd game of the season and 11 in a row. The last time the Warriors saw Steph suit up was in a loss against Detroit on January 30th. Following that game, he was diagnosed with runner's knee and, even in a recent interview, is nowhere near ready to return to the court. While he's scheduled to be reevaluated in 10 days, don't expect him to return to playing form anytime soon. Now it's easy to say this is as a result of Steve Kerr running him into the ground. And you'd be right. This is actually a direct result of having to play with Draymond and carrying the scoring load for the team in the motion offense. This leads to excessive cyclic loading on the affected area, causing overuse and the runner's knee diagnosis. Now here's the tough part to swallow. Most cases resolve in 6 to 12 weeks without surgery. That puts Steph at the middle of March at the earliest to the end of April. So there's still a hope that things can be resolved in time for the play-in April 14th through 17th. Otherwise, it may take as long as 6 to 12 months with surgery. There's definitely a lot to think about if you're the Golden State Warriors. While the chance is fairly low, they could still end up being a lottery team. With Butler, Curry, and KP all out with a lot of uncertainty around their return, it might be in the best interest of the team to try to get a valuable pick that they could use in a trade and come back next season for that one final run with everyone in better condition. Do you guys think the Warriors should tank the season, or should they try to get the best possible seeding and hope Curry returns for a playoff run? Personally, I don't think Curry has enough help to compete for a title this season and could actually end up with a worse injury to start next season. But let me know what you think. Post your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.